My name's Aaron. I'm the co-founder, managing director here at BWG Connect. We're a giant networking knowledge sharing group. Been around for over 8 years now. Kind of just focus on keeping on top of those newest digital trends, those things that people are thinking about, they're trying to solve for. So I spend the majority of my time just talking to brands, everywhere from startup to Fortune 100 around what those things are. When the same topics come up over and over again, we host an event like this. The other thing I'm asking everybody is, hey, who's helping you solve all of those, right? Who are the leaders in the space? Who's doing some really smart things? When the same people come up over and over again, those are the people we ask on to help inform the network as a whole. And so today's topic, as we jump into this, is just beyond ROAS, right? Smarter growth strategies for Amazon brands. This is something that's very, very top of mind for a lot of people right now. And ROAS, I love this because we're moving on to a new way of looking at measurement as a whole. But a couple of things as we get started here. One is we started 3 to 4 minutes after the hour. The other is we're going to wrap up before the end of the hour for sure. So don't worry, we're going to give you plenty of time to get on to your next meeting without being late. The other thing is we do want these to be as educational and informational as possible. At any point in time, if you have a question, we want you to drop it in the Q&A section there, and we're to answer those as real time as we possibly can. So as questions pop up, you have them in the back of your head, drop them in there, and we'll address them as we go. Today we have Philly Marketing Labs as well as Carbon6 on. Bechara, thanks so much. You're a great friend, partner, supporter of the network, and a lot of brands in it. Really appreciate your time today. And I'll kick it over to you first. If you want to do a brief intro on yourself and the company, that'd be great.
Sure.
We can kind of go around the horn, and then we can kind of jump into the content. Sound good?
Yeah, sure thing. Thank you for having us, Aaron. Bechara Jaoudeh, I'm the CEO of Philly Marketing Labs. I'm here with Tommy Sands, who leads all our paid efforts at PML. We're digital marketing. Hey, Tommy. We're a digital marketing agency. Our focus is really Amazon marketing, paid media across Microsoft, Google, and other third parties. And we also do Shopify development, and we wrap everything we do in an analytics blanket. We're very analytically focused. And we're here to talk to you about Amazon. We invited Joe from Carbon6. Carbon6 has been an amazing partner for us. It has allowed us, as a tool, Carbon6 has allowed us to do things that traditionally were not possible in the Amazon ecosystem. So a lot of the creative stuff, a lot of the areas where we push the boundaries on Amazon marketing come through some of the innovations Carbon6 brings to the table. So Joe, I'll turn it over to you for a quick intro.
Thank you, Bechara, Tommy, Aaron. Appreciate the time we've kind of spent over the last little bit working together, gaming out how to grow brands and businesses. Just a little bit about me, Joseph Melham here out of Toronto. Have been with Carbon6 for about 2 years. We're a traditional like software/service aggregator in the Amazon 1P, 3P space, as well as other retailers like Walmart and Target. Main day-to-day in the last little bit for myself has been off Amazon advertising. A lot of time money is spent in PPC, but I felt that there's so much growth potential and a cool niche there. So spend some time in off Amazon advertising, as well lead a team in recoveries to hit the bottom dollar for Amazon sellers. So day in, day out, dealing with what Amazon sellers have as problems and trying to find solutions.
Awesome. Just a quick reminder for those of you who have joined, drop as we go through today, questions pop up into your head, drop in the Q&A. We will answer them as real time as we possibly can. So like, where would you like to start? I mean, this idea of ROAS, it was a great way to start years back on how to measure performance as a whole, but I think a lot of people on the line would agree, and I think it's part of the reason for the title today is we're well beyond that and what people need to be looking at. So I'll kind of kick it over to you. I see we have a slide deck here to go through. Let's kind of walk through that, and we can have a great conversation and field questions.
Yeah, and Aaron, let's keep it conversational. We created a deck just to help guide the conversation. But the three top areas we want to cover today is attribution, which is, Amazon is a black box. You send traffic into it and you don't know what's working and what isn't. This is off-platform traffic coming into Amazon. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we leverage tools to actually x-ray that traffic and see what's working and what isn't, and then pass the attribution data back to the channel so they can optimize. We're going to talk about revenue recovery and how Amazon owes you money and how you can go about getting it back. And then we're going to cover some pragmatic tactical tips, life hacks, so to speak, for managing Amazon. If you are not managing it in-house and you have an agency managing it for you, you should be having these discussions with your agency. And if you're not, then you know that there are some gaps that you need to cover. So those are the areas. We will lead it with Joe on the attribution side of things with Amazon wants you blindfolded.
Yeah. So I think if I can come out of this and have like everyone take 1 point away, is like, look, the goal is to start diversifying ad spend. But in order to do that in a data-driven manner, you need to have the correct data flowing in the correct places. Growth, of course, is like the most important, but growing correctly with the data to drive that is, in the end of the day, the most important. So just quickly, the problem I think that we set out to solve with PixelMe, traditionally Google advertisers, meta advertisers that want to go to Amazon, whether it was a search or an Instagram reel, would not be able to relay information between Meta, Google, and Amazon for them to be able to communicate and use their big platforms, billions of data points, to go get you a sale when advertising at an appropriate or palatable cost. So
Yeah, really quick, Joe, I don't know if you can be closer to the microphone. There's
yeah,
turn it up just a little bit. Just had a couple people drop in there, a little bit harder to hear.
okay.
I think we caught it, but
Absolutely, we'll get closer. Just again, short form problem when doing traditional advertising, Meta or Google to Amazon, the data loop is missed, and you're unable to communicate conversion data from Amazon to those traditional platforms to optimize and get you a sale at an appropriate or palatable cost. So that was the problem we set out, and what we found in the market, speaking to advertisers. It was always available to your direct consumer website, but wasn't traditionally available to Amazon. So
why hasn't Amazon closed that loop by now?
yeah, so like, look, there's a few takes on why it is. Of course, Amazon will always be able to tell us that. Amazon traditionally likes to hold their customer data close to their heart. What we do in working with Amazon is find where they allow data to be pushed and pulled and communicate that correctly. Another reason why is Amazon really wants to push what I believe is like their DSP platform into a mainstream advertisement platform. So as they're growing their advertisement themselves, DSP is becoming a lot greater of a metric and in a place for them. But in a few slides or in a few talking points, you'll see that Google and Amazon continue to grow their relationship with billions of dollars done in ad spend a year.
Yeah, what are you guys seeing, like Tommy Bechara, like as far as spend? Are you seeing that diversification happen? Because I know what held brands back for the longest time is just the attribution loop as a whole.
Exactly. And I want to draw a distinction between analytics and tracking and attribution, right? So Amazon has always allowed you to tag the traffic coming into Amazon so you can see which channels are performing for you and which ones aren't. That is not what we're talking about here. What we are talking about here is passing a signal from Amazon back to Google Ads, for example, and say this keywords, this ad unit that drove this particular visitor resulted in a sale, right? And that's what allows Google to leverage its AI, to leverage its smart bidding strategies to optimize what's working and what's not, and to drive success. That link has been absent until PixelMe, right? So we were always able to tell what's working and what's not, but we haven't been able to optimize at scale our ad units. So our third party, our off-platform publishers and ad campaigns, we want those to be optimized to drive performance, and that's where PixelMe comes in. Our clients are continuing to invest in off-platform and in Amazon, but because of the direct correlation between ad spend and sales in Amazon because that data is living right there and is trustable. That's why they're investing more heavily maybe on Amazon, and they hesitate to invest in platforms that lack that attribution model. But now that has changed, and we encourage our clients to actually invest more in the off-platform channels because those end up driving a lot of new eyeballs, right? Because Amazon is a shopping mall, right? So everybody is there, everybody's competing. It's a red ocean. So it's very advantageous for brands to bring in traffic from third-party publishers because the competition on those third-party publishers may be a little less. And what we've learned, and Joe may talk about this a little bit later, that there's influence on that on the Amazon algorithm where organically you start showing up higher for the keywords that you're bringing off-platform traffic for. So there's a little bit of wizardry involved in that as well.
And we've seen on the
jump in, please,
ground
Tom.
floor, in real life, the difference between running campaigns without that closed loop, without those signals coming back, you're extremely limited in terms of how you can optimize. To the flip side, where once we implement these tools, we have essentially real-time conversion data coming back through Amazon, and the campaigns through our smart bidding strategies and through connecting the dots have shown like considerable and incremental improvements over time. It really works really, really well.
Yeah, I just think for the longest time there's been this pull of ad dollars between your traditional paid search social agency, maybe your Amazon agency, or just those teams as a whole, trying to figure out. And what we always had on the Amazon, if you just advertise on Amazon, you're getting that feedback internally. And we always knew something was going on. And now we can plug it in. And so Emily drops in here. So this is a way to be able to close that loop.
Exactly, yes.
Attribution to Amazon with paid offsite that is not through DSP, but still driving to Amazon. And thanks, Emily. Others drop questions in the Q&A. We'll answer them as we pick this thing apart.
That's a great segue, Emily. Yes. So what I'm showing on the screen right now is an example where on the top is PixelMe, which PixelMe connects to Amazon, where it can detect the sales occurring. So here you can see 452 sales occurred in Amazon, and that attribution data, these metrics have flown through to Google. So now in Google, for your ads that are driving to Amazon, you're able to get conversion data, and then the door becomes wide open for you to leverage all the machine learning, all the innovation that Google has to offer in optimizing your campaigns. So exactly, the answer is yes to your question.
It connects essentially your Amazon attribution data and your Google Ads data into one single source, and then shares the information back to the ad platform source. So the way you described it is exactly what's happening.
Yeah. And I was skeptical as well, Emily. I met Carbon6 a couple of years ago at a conference in Florida, and one of their co-founders was preaching this. I'm like, there's no way in hell this could happen. And I'm like, if it's happening, I should know that it's happening because I'm in the marketing space. And we ended up getting a demo and testing it. It is not 100% accurate, and there are criteria for it to work. Sorry, Joe, I'm doing your spiel now,
100%.
but because I'm a believer. It is, I would say, about 95. We've seen it to be about 95% accurate for our clients. And Emily, if you want to set up time with us after this, we'll be happy to guide you through it and show it to you for real life.
Yeah, like Bush, let's talk a little bit about some of the limitations. Like, we are operating off Amazon's attribution model, 14-day last click. Will the data be fed into AMC, which we're going to go into a little bit later, where you guys can see if any of these Google ads that didn't directly convert to a purchase end up converting to a purchase somewhere down the line? Like, yes, absolutely. That's where Amazon's building. And again, like, that's where diversification and how to diversify correctly is so important. Again, we thought that there was a problem there where Amazon wasn't able to directly communicate with Google. We set out to solve it. A little brag, but just not too long ago at Amazon's event in Seattle, Amazon Accelerate, they announced it last year, but re-announced it this year. We were their first third-party application. So if you have a Seller Central and you want to know what's happening in your Pixel Me app, be able to download a widget inside of Seller Central to view what's happening, your campaign, organic ROAS, ACoS, so on and so forth. I'm sure if you check on the Accelerate website, they have a nice little pretty explanation of what happened. But
Joe,
yeah,
can you talk a little bit about outside of Google? So, can you speak about how PixelMe works with Meta, for example, or any other publishers that are popular?
yeah. So same theory, different in practicality, but the same theory applies. Google, Meta, these big third-party advertisement platforms, they have so much data on who we are, what we buy, and we want to have them leverage those billions of data points that they have. In order to do that, we got to tell them who converted at what portion and in what age demographic. So that's what we, again, what we set out to solve. Grab that data, what's important, what's allowable, push it into the Meta platform, if it is the TikTok platform, so on and so forth, to gain the best results on advertising.
It is the true feedback loop. You're dumping it back into the other platforms and let their algorithms see that there was conversion based on what happened with ads, and you can then optimize those ads and that ad spend to keep it growing.
Yeah, like I'm sure Tommy could tell you, but just being able to have the ability to move from like a cost per click basis on Google to a cost per acquisition, where you want to tell Google, hey, go acquire a customer for me at about 18 or 19% of my product price. I know this falls into my profit margin perfectly, and see if we can scale and double and triple your advertisement costs to then scale the conversion rate. And I think that's one of the bigger benefits that I've seen.
Joe, can you talk to the accuracy rate across publishers?
Yeah. So again, we typically see about 95, I want to say, percent accuracy. This is across the board. Again, some publishers have different methods of tracking. Typically, it's what we do is a bifurcating link or a parallel URL tracking. That's how we are able to solve that. They all advertisements platforms, Google, Meta, LinkedIn, TikTok, for the most part, have a URL system where you can track parameters, typically to a direct-to-conversion website. But when it goes to Amazon's correlation between click and conversion is what it is, and we collect that data. So if Amazon tells us a click converted here, we will push it. If Amazon doesn't, and maybe a click had converted, we wouldn't be able to catch it. So that's where the discrepancy is. If Amazon doesn't disclose information, we're unable to push it back in.
But our experience is that given that 90+% of the data does flow through, you are training your algorithm properly, and it's leaps and bounds better than you manually trying to figure out what worked and what didn't and optimize that way. Where somebody touched, I believe one of the individuals that asked the question asked about DSP. Love-hate relationship with DSP. It obviously DSP works on view-through conversions, and it over reports a lot of its conversions. We have clients that activate on Amazon DSP as well as other channels, and then they look at the ROI on DSP as reported by Amazon, and it's huge. It's so much better than anything else. But when you look at the path to conversion, and if this is not a report you're working with your agency on, you absolutely should. But being able to see what channels, what was step one. So the individual, these conversions, step one on them was DSP, right? So that's valid. And then they went and purchased, or they went to DSP, then sponsored product, then they purchased. So seeing that path to conversion and properly attributing what sales you want to and what credit you want to give DSP for, and make decisions based on that, absolutely is the way to go. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the presentation. But we wanted to show you this report and make sure that that is something you are leveraging. Joe, was there something you wanted to cover on this additionally?
No, this exactly hits like the main point I wish everyone can walk away with is like, look, in diversification, you're trying to understand the whole path to conversion. If you're able to then start quantifying it from Google, from DSP, from your sponsored ads, from organic, this is where you're going to actually understand what your tacos are, and moving past that ROAS number, and getting a real sense of like how your business is advertising, where you should push more money or more levers into, and where you should remove some.
Yeah, absolutely. And this way, you're not putting all your money in DSP thinking that it is the source, and then, handicapping other channels where those channels could truly be the source of that sale to begin with. So, really, really important way to segment your data and know truly what's working, and not just relying on DSP reporting because it's flawed.
Yeah, and one last thing on like the DSP note. Look, DSP has some incredible value in where it's able to understand people and all the first party data that Amazon has on all of us. I think there's a massive benefit to it. And look, when I have seen people pair both PixelMe and DSP, what PixelMe is doing, every single page view that doesn't convert, your DSP provider is probably retargeting.
Yeah, of course.
So again, it fills that bottom of the funnel where DSP is pushing from the top, and you're really aggregating people that are going to learn about your brand, not just purchase because they know you and maybe would have purchased on an organic sale.
Yep, 100%. All right. If there aren't any more questions on this, we'll move on to helping you get some of your money back with revenue recovery. Joe, do you want to take that?
Yeah, let's do it. Like, look, Amazon, massive. I take my team here to an Amazon FBA warehouse almost every year just so they can see the type of scale that Amazon operates at. It is insane. Robots, humans, technology that I couldn't even think of. It's very cool to see, but with scale and automation comes issues. So the problem, we see typically 1 to 3% of Amazon's sellers' sales being lost in what we call reimbursements. So lost and damaged, missing inbound, lost within the Amazon warehouse, damaged within the missing the Amazon warehouse, a weird customer return. So across the board, anecdotally, if you sell $1 million, about 1 to 3% of that you could fight Amazon back for within a range. So what does Seller Investigators, what does Carbon 6 do? It's both a tool and a service. What we do, we fight Amazon for those cases. We go back, create cases with Amazon, find documentation proving like BOLs and PODs, proving that you actually sent the items to Amazon and they registered it in. From there, once we get that money back into your account, we take a fee on percentage of what we've brought back. If Amazon's really good to you, which I've rarely seen, but if they are 1 month, we're still looking. And if you don't find anything, we don't charge. The goal is essentially, if you have a current team or a third party doing it, you audit the auditor. You make sure that your systems are running correctly, and you let a team diagnose that as like a third party check. So million mile, that's what reimbursements and Seller Investigators does.
Yeah, we ran this for one of our clients with a look back of about 9 months, and we found $18,000 in money that they are owed from Amazon. It's and this is typical from what we've seen here. Not only that, you don't only know the top line number, you also see where the losses occurred. So missing inbound, for example, is the lion's share of that. Damaged. So you can see, and it's different for different clients. And you only have the look back window is what, Joe? It's like it could be 9 months on some of these or less, right?
So,
some is like 90 days.
Yeah, but this is the best question. We have to continue to be on our toes because Amazon continues to change. This used to be a 2-year look back, then it changes 60-day look back. They change policies quite quick, and just keeping up with those policies is a full-time job. So just kind of understanding what tools are out there, what systems and services are doing this sort of important but mundane job. And then use the humans that may be doing it right now to grow, invest in growth of your business rather than something that is more useful somewhere else.
Yep. Yeah, and there's no cost here. We can run an audit for you and let you know how things are looking for your specific brand. Uh,
I mean, it's a
all right.
profit center at the end of the day for Amazon, right? And that's part of the reason they kept closing the window. Just
Oh
because
yeah.
people were going back, they knew they could do an annual audit. So they immediately shrunk it, right? They kept
Yeah.
taking it down to a lower and lower look back window.
Yeah, and it's
go ahead.
no, I would say it's practically impossible to do it manually. So you have to do it. You have to use a tool. But go ahead,
Yeah,
Joe.
especially at scale. One of the recent updates Amazon did, and I know this hit hard on Amazon sellers' pockets, is they used to reimburse the product sale price, but now they only reimburse the manufacturing cost. So that also just said, hey, let's put another strain on Amazon sellers. Let's make them fight a little bit harder for a little bit less money. And look, if the goal is to grow, your important people have to be there to grow, and you build systems and tools to do this type of task.
You also have people then just using it as a tool to identify where their system is broken, right? And which one is Amazon, but also fix internal issues as well.
Exactly. Yes.
Yep, absolutely. All right, and feel free to keep dropping questions in the chat. But we'll move on to pitfalls and tips with Tommy.
Yeah,
Let's
so we
talk
have
about tacos.
we have a few just kind of topics and tips, if you will, that we want to run through. First one here is tacos without toppings, right? As you can imagine, a taco without toppings would be a pretty bland experience. And that can also be the trap of tacos if it becomes the end all be all of what you're viewing. There's a lot more data. There's a lot more ways you can segment and explore performance of campaigns, and you need to because while everything will ladder up to your tacos, the tacos alone can be misguided or misrepresent
What's
actual
working?
success and incremental sales if it's heavily influenced by your branded traffic, for instance. And so we always say, you want to have some toppings on your tacos.
Yeah, if you represent the brand that has great brand awareness, or if you're running linear TV, or if you are doing anything to generate branded search, it becomes extremely important to segment your tacos into branded and non-branded. There are other segmentation. I'm using this as just an example. So being able to do that will show you exactly where you're getting incremental sales, as opposed to just spending money on purchases or sales that you would have gotten anyway. So it's about deploying your budgets efficaciously so you can drive the bottom line and drive new purchases that you otherwise would not have had, right? That's the name of the game.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's where people call it a halo effect, a blended ROAS, so many different words for it, but like where you're actually getting the benefit outside of the advertised keyword or product page, so on and so forth. So yes, very important.
Yeah. Right. And we touched on this earlier, but yeah, go ahead, Tommy.
Yeah, no, and we'll touch on it quickly again, right? We talk about, this is a play on words here, right? But blind attribution in terms of view through, and it's just a risk, and it's about education and understanding what are we talking about when we're looking at a view through attribution, right? And what that represents in terms of the actual bottom line. And one of the ways to make sure you're keeping a real tab on all of your channels is to explore. Well, one of the ways was to explore the channel conversion path report that we were looking at earlier. But the call out here is just be aware, be cognizant. And the real question when we're talking about channels like DSP is this view through or not, right? And when it is, you have to understand what that means.
Yeah, I wish people just stop looking at view through attribution. I want this to go away. I mean, we just met with a client and we start talking about annual planning right now. This is the annual planning season for next year, right? And we were speaking to this executive, and she said, well, DSP is doing great for us. The reports are showing, triple digit returns. Let's shift let's give a larger allocation of our budget next year to DSP. And we were like, wait a second, the data that you're looking at is all driven by view through attribution. DSP did not actually drive all these sales. The individual or the buyer touched or interacted with your ad units on DSP at some point in their buying journey, that they did not discover your product. They did not. A lot of them did not. I mean, some still came through DSP, right? I'm not trying to say don't run DSP. We're saying be responsible with your data because your annual plans depend on it, and your plan is as good as your data insights are interpreted as, right? It's not just the data. You have to apply a layer of interpretation on your data and guide your annual planning with proper insights. And that's what we're advocating for here.
You walk through what you mean by view through attribution, just for everybody on the line.
Oh yeah, so here I'll show you. So check this out. So this is the multi-touch attribution model, right? So we can see that we had 7,304 purchases that the individual interacted with Amazon DSP and then that purchased. So great. So display or Amazon DSP in this case should legitimately get this credit, right? But if you look at here, for example, sponsored product, so the person clicked on an ad, then interacted with DSP, then they purchased. When you look at the reports for DSP directly, DSP takes credit for these 1,035 sales as if they originated from DSP, and that's simply because those 1,035 individuals saw or on their screen as they're browsing, one of the DSP ad units was present. They did not interact with it. They didn't touch it. It just flashed on their screen. And therefore, in Amazon's eyes, Amazon DSP contributed to the sale. So it's not true, right? Like if you were driving on the highway and in your peripheral vision, there was a billboard for Coca-Cola, and then you were at your favorite grocery store and there was an individual in there saying, hey, buy this Coca-Cola. It's the most delicious drink you've ever had. In our world, that individual should get the credit, not the billboard that you saw in your peripheral vision on the highway that your brain probably didn't even register it. So you can't say that billboard drove that sale. It's the individual in the store that sold it to you. But in Amazon's world, that billboard gets credit, and that's view through.
So you're a brand. Let's do a scenario play. You're a brand knowing what you know about DSP, because for the past couple years, over the past couple years, DSP has been pushed hard by Amazon, by agencies. So you're a brand knowing what you know. You're walking into your agency and you're saying, show me results on DSP. What are you asking them to break down? Is it like
you need them to parse out view through attribution and actually show you direct attribution. So what did DSP drive? Where was DSP the first click in that conversion funnel, right? We want to see what sales would you have not gotten had you not been running DSP, right? Not which sales have come across DSP in their conversion funnel, right?
Mhm.
Like that's what you're trying to parse out. And a good agency will show you that, because you can make bad decisions when you are looking at view through attribution. If you're giving DSP credit for every single sale that DSP was present in the universe of, you're going to put all your money in DSP and cut marketing channels. I mean, it's the old, I'm in disbelief over this. I'm so passionate about this topic because we used to have this conversation back when Google Analytics, whatever that first version of Google Analytics was, where we used to believe in like one-to-one attribution, right? Last click attribution, right? Then we moved to a model where it was a multivariable and AI-driven attribution models, but that last click attribution model we all knew was not an honest model, right? If you run Google ads and then remarketing, and the person discovered you on Google ads, then clicked on remarketing 2 days later and then purchased, you're not going to see Google ad in that equation. You're only going to see your remarketing channel. And if you're making decisions based on that, you'll say, let me put more money in remarketing and let me kill Google ads. But if you do that, you really harm yourself, because then you're not driving that initial discovery. So it's the same argument that we're having right now with DSP. But DSP has been so extremely profitable for Amazon, and so many brands are bought into DSP, and they're just plowing money into it just without critical thinking, without really understanding the nuts and bolts, and where it's actually good and where it falls short, and how it should be in balance with your other marketing channels.
Bechara, like all super agree with all really good points. I want to straw or steel man the other side.
Yeah.
One portion where I actually do think DSP kind of leads. Again, Amazon, our first party data is so valuable. They know it all. They know who we are, where we purchase, how much money we make, where we hover over a screen, and who we comment on. So stepping back and looking at it holistically, like back to your analogy, which was a amazing analogy, that billboard for Coke, it isn't for the person that was already going to buy Coke, or the person whose daughter or son says, Mom, let's get that Coke pack. It was the person that probably drinks Pepsi and they want to go in. So if we use that same methodology and thought process to DSP, it's like your money with view through should probably be going at only or heavy on the top of funnel to be able to bring those new to brand purchases, people to convert them from your competitor to your brand. I think inevitably in the future, as Amazon gets better at this, that's where the big value is going to be. Now, everything you said in terms of like where people use DSP right now in that ROAS or one-to-one sales, that is completely wrong. Like you're showing here, there's a million little streams at which your customer is going to land and purchase and add to cart and buy your product. So with diversification, you need to understand all the flow of potential clients.
Yeah, no, 100%. Let's see. All right, Tommy, carry us through here.
All right, auto ignore campaigns. This was another little play on words, right? Auto campaigns have a great home as part of strategies for Amazon campaigns. They just cannot be set up and left alone, right? They are a tool to help us build smarter campaigns in addition to what they serve as discovery tools. But they still need to be massaged. They still need to be analyzed and refined very consistently. They are not this set it and forget it solution. You have to treat them as the exact opposite, actually. There's plenty of data there you can extract. There's plenty of learnings that you can turn into additional tests or initiatives, in addition to insights as to, this is not a fit for us, so to speak.
Yeah, I think the thing I've learned and continue to learn that at scale, at high spends, AI, automation, and human touch is going to perform the best. You need a little bit of both. It can never be one or the other. The human will not be able to do things at scale efficiently, and the AI will not always get things right and have the human analytical brain for it. So always necessary to have both, and a great call out.
100%. Yep, 100%.
And this next one really dovetails into the, neglecting negatives. If you're not using exclusions across campaigns, and this is, fundamental for any marketing, frankly. But there's all of the tools available for incorporating negatives or exclusions across Amazon. Don't be a sad plant. Feed your plants. Use your negatives. And the last one is there's no one size fits all solution here. And through any real marketing that we're talking about, if you come up with a strategy that is working for you for a segment of your products, it doesn't mean it's going to work for others. There's plenty of strategies and plenty of ways that you can segment or build campaigns to better align or to align in general with what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve. This is just a fundamental approach, if you will. Align your campaigns with goals that you want to achieve, and they should be set up to optimize toward that. And then you can measure and read your success in attaining those goals and achieving them. And one strategy isn't necessarily going to work on across the board. You need to be open to trying and testing. Whatever the norm is now won't be the norm later. Don't be afraid to be a person that discovers that next thing, right?
Yeah, no, it's shifting. Thank you, Tommy. So to wrap it up, leverage an attribution tool, take advantage of revenue recovery, segment your tacos for incremental growth. Don't look at blended tacos. View through attributions are misleading. Mine your auto campaigns for search terms. Don't neglect negatives, and then segment your campaigns by intent. And what we will leave you by saying is that we do audits all the time. They're complimentary. Reach out to us. We'll do Aaron will do intros with most of you attendees here today. We're happy to give you an audit of how your campaigns are being run today, objectively. And we are also happy to take a look at your revenue recovery numbers and see what are you leaving on the table. So drop us a note. These are things we can do fairly quickly and anonymously, or confidentially, I should say. And yeah, I'll turn it back over to you, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody has any last minute questions, you can drop in the Q&A there. And if not, this has been absolutely awesome on the DSP side. Kind of eye-opening for me for the past 2 years as everybody's been pushing DSP, but also the fact that we can close the loop. So I think it's fantastic. I don't see any other questions that have popped up here. So I think it might be a great time to wrap this up. Again, everybody, we'll shoot you a follow-up email to connect you with Joseph at Carbon 6 and Tavi and Bechara over at Philly Marketing Labs. 100% worth of follow-up conversation. They're awesome people, digital strategists across the board. We're spending some time picking their brain, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to share not only what they do, but key insights as well. And so with that, look for a follow-up from me as well. I'd love to have a conversation with you, kind of nail down the topics for the upcoming calls in Q4 here. But with that, I think we're going to wrap up this webinar here. Thanks again, everybody. Take care, stay safe, and look forward to having you at a future event. All righty.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.